Jelly Bean Killer, appreciate you guys coming through to the video, and the two areas that we completed in this video are going to be the Hemwick Chanel Lane and the Forbidden Forest. Now, the only difference you'll see me do in this boss fight compared to all the other boss fights in the past videos is I'm going to fast forward through these boss fights. I'm going to do it at 2x speed. You guys will see why, because it was a lot of strategy with these upcoming boss fights. So the boss fights took a little bit longer than it usually would have taken me, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I noticed in the Hemwick Chanel Lane that it really was just the same guys from the town stages at towards the beginning of the game, except they were female versions, right? They had some very similar weapons. They did different attack animations for sure, but they did have dogs. The dogs had like a spike variation on the top of their coats, but other than that, everything else seemed to be the same. I'm sure you guys recognize this guy from the first stages, but everything was basically the same. It was pretty easy getting through the stage. And then the Witch of Hemwick itself, so basically how this boss fight works is she spawns these minions like the one I'm fighting here, and then she's in the corners of the castle, and she's like casting spells and stuff like that to buff the minions, or to buff herself, or to just attack you and whatnot. So it was kind of like a cat and mouse chase basically, because she could go invisible. Like right here, she just disappears. And at the beginning, I'm learning the fight. I didn't know what that red glow was at first. I didn't realize that obviously it was her attacking. I learned that right then in that moment, but I only had to do this boss fight one single time. I didn't have to do it multiple times because, like I said, it was fairly easy. The most dangerous part of the fight were these guys right here. You just had to really keep track of them. Then after that, you would just find the witch and you would attack her. As you can see, I already almost have her down to half health, and she would spawn in various spots around the entire castle. Once I learned her attack animations, one was the one where she charges the red light and she does like a curse or some type of spell. And then after that, she does have another one where she can grab you, but I never got hit by that. So this fight was fairly simple. It did end up being two of them, as you'll see moving forward, that it was two witches that I did have to find and kill. So once the second one spawned, she spawned more of these minions to chase you around. But as you can see, they chase you around very slowly. Like, they don't really put pressure on you. You could really just ignore them. The only time you really have to worry about them getting in your way is when the witch actually spawns near them. But other than that, maybe this was, I was trying to think of, like, I wonder what they were thinking when they made this boss fight, and I think they just wanted to have a different variation of boss fights, because we were used to like the big bosses or even the small kind of hunter-sized bosses where you had to just move quickly. It was all about reflexes, and you did have to strategize, but I feel like in this boss fight you really had to think a little bit more, because if you had to spend your time fighting these minions the whole time, you would have been wasting your time not doing any damage to the witch. And I think that was the point. You were supposed to get distracted by these minions and continue fighting them, and eventually she will probably spawn an absurd amount of them, because as you see, she keeps spawning more of them as the fight goes on. And then she starts to do different attacks where she shoots these light beams at you that do a lot of damage. She's one of those bosses that she's a glass cannon. She takes a lot of damage when you hit her, but if she hits you, she can hit you for like half your health. So as you see right here, like if she hits me with 2 attacks, I'm dead. But she moves very slow and she's very easy to get damage on. And as you can see, I just circled the minions up basically like Call of Duty Zombies. I mean, I circled them up. I had them chase me around very slowly. You can see they're not putting very much pressure on you. I imagine if this was if they were a little bit faster and more aggressive, this boss fight would have been hell, right? It would have been a lot harder, but luckily for me, this is the speed that they moved at for the entire time. And now I'm sure you guys are noticing why I fast forwarded through this entire fight, because this fight was basically like 8 minutes, because I was just trying to figure out where the witch was. Like I said, it was like a cat and mouse chase the entire time. So I noticed she would spawn in the 4 corners of the castle, which is, once I picked that up, I would just go check each corner, and I could also hear her footsteps in my earphones as well when I was fighting her too, so that helped a lot. But very easy fight. The first fight that I fought, aside from the first boss that you ordered to in this game, where I did not have to even,
New face.
respawn and fight her again because the fight was just so easy. So we breezed through that fight. We're able to find a member of the Hunters League, which you see I started attacking when he popped up on me because he scared me when I was in the live stream. But yeah, I run into him. Luckily, he doesn't actually fight back, but I'm pretty sure if I had killed him, it probably would have hurt me in the long run with joining this league. But that's one of the notable things that I noticed when I entered the next stage, which was the Forbidden Forest, is you can join a Hunters League. I still haven't figured out everything that comes with that besides that badge that I got. And then the most notable creatures in this area were these guys right here. You see me taking down one pretty easily here, but I wanted to show you guys what happens if you get to like where it's 2 or 3 of them. They have an attack where they can grab you, and they also have range grapple. So they did have the danger of just one-shotting you if they got that grab attack on you. But other than that, there were some smaller, like coiled up snake characters. There was like a small, imagine a bunch of snakes coiled up in a ball. That's literally what it was. And then you had a big coil of snakes, which was like the adult version of this exact variation I just described. That's basically what it was throughout the entire map. That's why I didn't bother even showing you guys, because it was just a bunch of snakes coiled up. And that's literally all it was throughout the entire stage. It was those guys with snake heads, the balled up snakes, the small version and the giant version, and then there were like the old mobs that we were used to running into, like the big pig, and stuff like that. It was just not really anything too crazy. Like I said, they were pretty easy because they were very slow, which is why I didn't show it, because it was very easy to kill them. They were super slow. They did do poison damage, so if you got hit by them, they did poison you, but they were very slow. So long as you stayed out of range and you did charge attack, they were very easy to kill. Now the Shadow of Yarnums, they were pretty actually challenging. It only took me 3 tries to actually beat them, but I had to strategize once again in this fight, which is why I fast forward, because you see I'm doing a lot of circling around. And the reason I do that is because 2 of the shadows are very fast and they actually stay right on you. And one of them is ranged. As you see, I took out the ranged one, which was my strategy, so I circled them around, the fast ones, because they actually stayed on me. And then when they would be far away from the ranged one, I would go in and get like 2 hits in for the ranged one. And I just did that on rinse and repeat until we got rid of them. But as you see, once you kill one of them, their snake, I guess their true form is revealed, and snakes start coming out of their head. They get more powerful attacks, and they become more dangerous. But as you can see, I took my time, and I was very, very careful to use this pillar right here in the middle to kind of split them up when I could. So there was one guy who would blow actual fire at you, and he has a fire sword, right? So with him, I noticed that he prefers to dodge when you get close to him before attacking. So the thing I did was I would go for the one that was pretty fast and was chasing me the most, which the more aggressive one without the fire blade right here. I went for him because he was on me and he was staying on me basically. And as you can see, they hit very hard, so that's why I was circling around all the time, because I mean, their attacks together, they could just, if both of them hit you at the same time, you die. Straight up. That's why I was circling around like this and using this pillar. Like I said, the guy with the fire blade, he doesn't really attack too often. Whenever I got close to him, he would prefer to dodge over attacking. As you can see right here, he dodges. So I noticed that, which is why I went for the guy that stays on me, because he always attacks. Every time I get close to him, he attacks. So I would just dodge his attack, get a couple hits in, 2 hits in usually, and just rinse and repeat. So I just kept doing that the entire time. And then as you guys can notice, towards the end of the fight, once I killed him, and it was the last guy, he unleashed another attack. As you see, a giant snake, he starts spawning from the ground, giant snakes, and their attacks were very hard to dodge, as you can see. So once I started noticing that, I was like, okay, I gotta speed this fight. I actually like stayed on him and made sure I was a little bit more aggressive, because last time I realized periodically if he kept doing the snake attack, I was going to die, because they do a lot of damage, and they're really hard to dodge because they can spawn on certain parts of the screen where you're not facing that direction, so you don't see them. But as you can see, I took him out before I died or ran out of health. And like I said, it only took me about 3 times to do this fight. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate you guys coming through. We got another video coming up soon, so stay tuned. Peace out.